So, what if I told you that hatred isn't some unfortunate flaw, but actually the very thing that drives us? Today, we're diving into William Hazlitt's incredibly provocative essay on the pleasure of hating. It's a bracing, really uncomfortable look at a side of human nature we just don't like to admit exists.
You'd think an essay like this would start with some big philosophical statement, but Hazlitt doesn't do that. He starts with something small, immediate, and, yeah, a little creepy. A spider. He just watches it, thinks about it, and that one simple reaction becomes the tiny seed for his entire massive argument.
And right away, boom, he hits us with the central conflict. On the outside, he does the quote-unquote right thing. He's civilized, he helps the spider. But on the inside, his gut feeling is just pure revulsion. He still hates the thing.
And this, right here, is the absolute key. Society can teach us to control our behavior, right? To not crush the spider. But what it can't do is erase that feeling, that raw, primal instinct of hostility. This spirit of malevolence, as he calls it, it survives, deep down inside all of us. So, how in the world does this weird feeling about a spider grow into this grand, pretty cynical theory about all of humanity? Well, let's get into it. Let's explore the pleasure of hating. I mean, this is a really radical idea, right? Hazlitt is arguing that negativity, this antipathy, it's not some flaw we need to get over. Nope. He says it's essential fuel. It's what gives life its kick, its momentum. It's what keeps everything from just becoming a boring, stagnant pool. But he doesn't stop there. He goes even further. He claims that pure good, pure positivity, well, it's ultimately boring. It becomes bland, insipid, as he puts it. Sure, love and friendship are great, but he says they always, inevitably, fade or change.
And this all builds up to his most shocking claim, really the heart of the whole essay, that hatred is the only emotion that truly lasts. It doesn't get old, it doesn't get boring, it's a source of energy that just never runs out. It is, in his own words, immortal. Okay, so you're probably thinking, wow, that is a super bleak view of humanity. And you're right. But where's the proof for an idea this cynical? Where does he actually see this playing out in the real world? Well, Hazlitt says to just look around. It's everywhere. He sees it in the casual cruelty of kids, killing flies for fun. He sees it in the grim way a crowd will rush to go watch a fire. He even points out that a theater audience would ditch a play in a heartbeat to go watch a public execution nearby. It's this collective hunger for spectacle, for conflict, for someone else's misfortune. This is what unites a town against an outsider, whether it's an animal or a person, and it fuels these rituals of hate, like burning an effigy every single year. It all comes from the same place, he argues, this deep human craving for negative excitement. So we've seen it on the big societal level. But now Hazlitt gets really personal. He brings this argument into our closest relationships, saying that even our tightest bonds follow the same universal law of decay. And he's not just theorizing here, he's talking from his own life. He looks at his old group of inseparable companions and sees that they've all just fractured and drifted apart. And he makes a funny little note that it's not just him. They've all fallen out with each other too. So why does this happen? Well, according to Hazlitt, it's just time. It's almost a no-win situation. If you see your friends too often, that old saying kicks in, familiarity breeds contempt. But if you don't see them enough, you become strangers. You just grow apart, and that connection that used to feel so essential now just seems kind of foolish or even irritating. And man, he uses this really powerful image to nail this feeling down. He says, old friendships are like leftovers you've had one too many times. It's not a gentle fading. It can become this really visceral feeling of disgust. The warmth is gone, and all you're left with is something cold, stale, and totally unappetizing. And get this, it's not just about people. This same principle of decay applies to everything else. The art we used to love, the political ideas we were so passionate about, even our favorite books. Sooner or later, he says, their flavor just fades, and they can become just as distasteful. Okay, so if everything out there, society, our friends, politics, even art, is just going to end up disappointing us, where does that leave us? This is where the essay takes its final and, honestly, its darkest turn. Remember that spirit of malevolence he mentioned way back at the start with the spider? We're coming full circle back to it now. It's that core, hostile energy that's still there when everything else has failed us. It's the one thing that's always present, always giving us that dark thrill.
And this is the ultimate, absolutely devastating conclusion he comes to. After you've seen through all the pettiness of politics, the silliness of public opinion, the failure of your own relationships, there's only one target left for that critical, hateful eye: you. And his final line is just a total gut punch. He basically says, of course I have reason to hate myself. But it's not for his flaws or his failures. No, his biggest regret, the main reason he hates himself, is for being naive enough, foolish enough, to have ever hoped for anything better from the world in the first place. And that's where Hazlitt leaves us, and where I'm going to leave you, with this really uncomfortable question to chew on. Is there a bitter kind of satisfaction in hatred that the fleeting warmth of goodness just can't compete with? It's a dark thought, for sure, and it's what has kept this essay so powerful and so unsettling for 200 years.